Hello, everyone! Today we're diving deep into one of the most common challenges English learners face: how to stop translating in your brain when speaking English.
That's right, Sarah. So many of us start learning a new language and instantly fall into the habit of translating from our native language to English in our heads. It's completely natural, but if you want to speak fluently and confidently, that's a habit you'll want to break.
Exactly! Translating all the time can slow down your speaking, cause hesitation, and make you sound less natural. But don't worry, today we're going to show you exactly how to stop that process and think directly in English. It might take a little practice, but it's totally possible.
Absolutely, Sarah. The best part is, once you start thinking in English, you'll notice a huge improvement in your fluency and confidence. So let's get started.
Okay, John, let's begin by understanding why we translate in the first place. Why does our brain do that?
Great question, Sarah. It's actually a survival mechanism. When we start learning a new language, our brain needs a way to communicate quickly, and translating from our native language is the easiest way to do that. We've built a deep connection to our first language, so when we don't know a word in English, we naturally go to the closest word in our native tongue.
Exactly. Our brain's way of playing it safe is to find a word in the language it's most comfortable with. But here's the problem. Translating all the time takes up a lot of mental energy, and it slows down the process of actually speaking the language naturally. Plus, translating in your head doesn't help you improve your listening skills or help you pick up new vocabulary and expressions.
Right, so while it's perfectly normal at the beginning stages of learning, it's something you want to move away from as you get more comfortable in English. The goal is to think in English, not just translate into it.
Now that we know why we translate, let's talk about how to stop doing it. The first tip is simple, but super effective. Increase your exposure to English.
Yes. When you listen to and read more English, you get used to how the language sounds and feels. Your brain starts to recognize patterns, phrases, and even expressions without the need to translate. This can be through podcasts like this one, watching movies, reading books, or even following social media accounts in English. The more you're exposed to English, the easier it becomes to stop translating.
And it's important to not just listen, but also practice active listening. Instead of just passively watching a movie or listening to a podcast, try to really understand the meaning without translating every word. Focus on the tone, the mood, and the context. Over time, your brain will start to understand English without needing the crutch of translation.
Exactly. Even if you don't understand every single word, it's okay. The key is getting the overall meaning. You'll notice your brain starts working differently and becomes more focused on understanding in English, not through translation.
Another super helpful tip is to think in images, not words. This one's a game changer, John.
Absolutely. This technique helps you stop translating directly from your native language. Instead of mentally searching for words, try to visualize what you want to express. Let's say you want to say, "I'm hungry." Instead of translating it into your first language and then into English, try to picture the feeling of hunger or imagine yourself eating your favorite food. By thinking about the feeling, you'll find it easier to say, "I'm hungry" in English without thinking about the translation.
That's a really great point. When you think in images or emotions, your brain is focusing more on the experience and less on the words. For example, if you're at a restaurant and you want to say, "Can I have the menu, please?" think about the action of asking for the menu, not the translation. This way, you'll remember the English words better.
Exactly, Sarah, and don't forget to practice describing things in English without translating them. For instance, when you see a tree, instead of thinking, "It's a tree" in your first language, describe it in English. It's tall, has leaves, and gives shade. This helps your brain connect English directly to the real world.
One more thing you can try is expanding your vocabulary. The more words you know, the less you'll need to translate. When you have a bigger vocabulary, you don't have to rely on translation because you can find the right word right away.
That's right, and a great way to build your vocabulary is by learning phrases, not just single words. For example, instead of learning just the word hungry, learn phrases like I'm starving, I could eat, or I'm really craving something. These phrases will help you speak more naturally without thinking too much.
And here's a tip: don't be afraid to make mistakes. Many learners avoid speaking because they fear they'll make mistakes, but mistakes are part of the process. The more you speak, the more you'll improve, and the less you'll need to translate.
Exactly. Think about it this way. Every time you speak or write, you're practicing thinking in English. So even if you make a mistake, it's helping your brain connect directly to the language.
So, we've covered a lot today, but before we wrap up, let's remind everyone of the key points to stop translating in your brain. 1. Increase your exposure to English. Listen to English as much as possible and practice active listening. 2. Think in images, not words. Visualize what you want to say or focus on emotions, not just words. 3. Describe things in English. Help your brain connect objects and ideas to the language directly. 4. Expand your vocabulary. Learn phrases and words that help you express yourself naturally. 5. Practice speaking. Don't worry about making mistakes. Just speak as much as you can.
And remember, it's a process. It won't happen overnight, but if you keep practicing and stay patient, you'll find that soon enough, you'll start thinking in English more often. The goal is progress, not perfection.
So, keep practicing, have fun with it, and don't get discouraged. You're on the right track.
That's all for today's episode of Fun English Podcast. We hope these tips will help you stop translating in your brain and start thinking in English.
Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and share it with your friends who are also learning English. We'll be back next week with more tips to boost your English fluency.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay confident, keep practicing, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching my video. Honestly, it means the world to me that you took the time to be here. I work hard every day to create content that you'll enjoy, and knowing that even one person is watching gives me so much motivation. I promise no matter what, even if I only have one viewer, I'll keep going and do my best to make videos worth watching. Your support means everything to me, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps more than you know. See you in the next one.